Is there a name, a memory that just surfaces, even in the quietest moments? Does it come to mind, and you feel a certain tightness in your chest, a heaviness? It is the echo of an old unrest, a place in your soul that isn't yet whole, a wound from someone you trusted, and you are weary. You are so weary of carrying this burden. You crave peace. You crave that feeling of your soul finally becoming light, that shalom, that completeness. You want the love that you know is resting underneath this heaviness to finally be set free. But there is a dissonance. To find that peace, we must forgive. And how? How do we even begin to forgive the one who caused this unrest, the one who betrayed a trust, the one who never acknowledged the hurt? Our world makes it sound so simple. We see it scrolling through our feeds. Just let it go. Move on. But it feels impossible. It feels unjust. And so we remain in this place, a quiet unrest, held there by our own inability to release it. If that is you, if you feel caught between the deep need for shalom and the cost of forgiveness, I want you to know your weariness is seen, and there is a path for this, a gentle one. It's a story, not a parable, but a life, the life of Joseph, the story of brothers and deep misunderstanding, the story of being forgotten, of years spent in stillness, waiting. It is the ultimate story of finding wholeness after the deepest possible grievance. But Joseph's story and ours doesn't begin with the act of forgiving. We cannot rush to the end. It begins with the first invitation. We are craving forgiveness, but perhaps we have defined it wrong. We think it's a task we must complete, but forgiveness, it is not a something, it is someone. The first step is not to look at the person who caused the wound. It's not to look inside yourself for a strength you don't have. The first step is to come. It is the divine invitation from Jesus himself. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. What is heavier? What is more burdensome than the yoke of this unrest? This weight we carry? He doesn't say, go and forgive, and then you will find rest. He says, first, come to me with your heaviness, with your confusion, with your feeling that this is too hard. Come and take my yoke upon you. This is the divine exchange. We bring him our impossible burden, and in return, he invites us to walk alongside him. Before Joseph could find that place of peace, he had to spend years walking with God, yoked only to him in the stillness of a prison cell. He had to come first, and so do we. To come is a single moment, a turning of the heart, but to stay, this is the gentle practice. How do we remain in this quiet place when the world rushes back in? The memory surfaces, perhaps triggered by a news alert on our phone insight mirror, or just in the quiet of the morning, and the heaviness returns. Our mind begins to drift back to the unrest, back to the why. This is the gentle struggle. How do we keep our souls from drifting back into that old grievance. The prophet Isaiah offers a whisper of truth. In chapter 26, verse 3, he writes, "You will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are stayed on you, because they trust in you." Perfect peace. In the Hebrew, Shalom, Shalom, a peace that is whole, complete, unbroken. And who receives this peace? Those whose minds are stayed on you. That word, stayed, in Hebrew, samak, it means to lean upon, to prop, to anchor. Our minds are anchors. The gentle question for us is, what are they anchored to? Are they anchored to the memory, to the grievance, to the what ifs? When our anchor is in those shifting sands, we are moved by the unrest. God invites us. Pull up that anchor from your circumstances, from your fears, and stay it, anchor it on me. This is not a denial of our feelings. It is the declaration of a greater, a quieter reality. Think of that beautiful, quiet story in the Gospel of Mark, chapter 4. Jesus and his disciples are in a boat, and a furious squall comes up. The waves are breaking over the boat, so that it was nearly swamped. This is a picture of our inner unrest, the waves of memory, the feeling of being overwhelmed. And where is Jesus? Jesus was in the stern, sleeping on a cushion. This is the most perfect picture of Shalom. He is asleep because he is at peace. The disciples, meanwhile, their hearts are full of fear. They wake him. "Teacher, don't you care?" This is the cry of our own weary heart. "God, don't you see this heaviness? Don't you care?" Jesus wakes. He rebuked the wind and said to the waves, "Peace, be still." And the wind died down, and it was completely calm. Then he turns to them. "Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith?" Think about this. It is possible to have Jesus in our boat and still have a heart full of unrest. Why? Because their minds were stayed on the waves, not on the master of the waves. True peace, Shalom, is not the absence of the storm. True peace is the presence of the King. So, how, in our daily lives, do we find this stayed mind? The Apostle Paul gives us the divine prescription in his letter to the Philippians, chapter 4. He writes, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God." That is the gentle ingredient with thanksgiving. Why thanksgiving? Because thanksgiving is the key that quiets the lock of anxiety. Anxiety anchors our mind on what we lack. Thanksgiving anchors our mind on what we have. Anxiety focuses on the unrest. Thanksgiving focuses on the provider. You are not thankful for the wound. You are thankful in the wound. You begin to pray, "God, I feel this heaviness, but I thank you that you are faithful. God, I struggle to release this, but I thank you that you have first released me. God, the waves are high, but I thank you that you are in this boat." This practice, this gentle turning of the mind, is how we stay our mind on Him. And the promise And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds. This is not a peace we manufacture. It is a peace that makes no logical sense. It is the peace that guards, that word guard, phoreo, a sentinel. When you practice this gentle exchange, surrendering your unrest with thanksgiving, God dispatches his shalom to stand like a quiet soldier at the gate of your heart and your mind. This peace is the guidance. It is the healer, protecting your heart while you stay. We come to him, seeking rest. We stay our minds on him, anchoring our hearts. But what happens when our minds are just noisy? This is the third invitation. It addresses the static, the constant unrest that fills our hearts. The invitation is to be ye still. But how can we be still? Stillness feels passive. It can feel like acceptance, as if the grievance was okay, and so we resist the quiet. The truth is, our unrest is loud. It's the inner monologue that plays on repeat. It's the what-ifs and the if-onlys. It's the 3 a.m. scroll, looking for a distraction, but finding only more noise. We live in a world that worships noise, the noise of expectations, and the noise of our own grievance. We are, in many ways, afraid of the silence, because in the silence, the heaviness can feel heavier. And this is where we find the prophet Elijah. We find him in 1 Kings chapter 19. He is not in a place of victory. He is weary. He is sitting alone in a cave. He is in a place of deep unrest, running from his past and afraid of his future. He is waiting for a word from God, and God gives him a command. Go out and stand on the mountain, for the Lord is about to pass by. And then the noise begins, a spectacular, terrifying display. First, a great and powerful wind tore the mountains apart and shattered the rocks. This is the wind of our own inner chaos, the shattering feeling of betrayal. But the Lord was not in the wind. After the wind, there was an earthquake. The very ground beneath him, his foundation, was shaking. This is the earthquake of our trauma. The moment our life was split. But the Lord was not in the earthquake. After the earthquake came a fire, a consuming, visible, powerful fire. This is the fire of our unrest, the burning feeling of injustice. But the Lord was not in the fire. This is the secret. We are looking for God in the noise. We want him to validate the wind. We want him to acknowledge the earthquake. We want him to join us in the fire. We want a loud answer, a dramatic intervention. And God, in his mercy, refuses. He will not meet us in the chaos, because the chaos is the very thing that is overwhelming us. Then, after the fire, what came? A gentle whisper, a still, small voice. And that is where the Lord was. When Elijah heard that, he covered his face and stepped out of the cave. The whisper did what the wind, the earthquake, and the fire could not do. It brought him to a place of stillness. Here is the gentle truth for us. We cannot hear the whisper of God's healing if we are still captivated by the noise of our own wound. We cannot hear the gentle voice of Shalom if we are still listening to the fire. The voice of God's peace, the voice that leads to forgiveness, is almost never the loudest voice. It is the gentle whisper. It is the Holy Spirit, our comforter, speaking truth to our hearts in a voice so quiet it can only be heard in the stillness. This is why the psalmist writes in Psalm 46, "Be still and know that I am God." We cannot know him as God. We cannot know him as our refuge, our strength, our peace, until we are first willing to be still. The stillness is the soil where peace begins to grow. This is what Joseph learned for 13 years in the absolute stillness of a pit and a prison. He had no one to talk to. He had nothing to distract him. He was weaned off the noise of his brother's betrayal. And in that silence, he learned to hear the whisper of God's presence, which years later he understood was the whisper of God's sovereign plan. To find the peace, we must first embrace the stillness. We must have the courage to turn down the volume of the world and the volume of our own unrest, so we can hear the gentle whisper of the one who is our peace. We have walked this gentle path. We come to him. We stay our minds on him. We learn to be still. But there is one final invitation. It is the secret that moves forgiveness from being an agonizing, heavy effort to a supernatural rest. The final invitation is to abide. Why, after all this, do we still struggle? Why do we come and stay and be still and still find ourselves falling back into that old unrest? Because we are still trying. We are striving to produce forgiveness like it's another item on our productivity checklist. We are trying to manufacture peace. And Jesus, in his quiet final moments with his disciples, gives us the key. In John chapter 15, he says, "Abide in me, and I in you. As the branch cannot bear fruit by itself unless it abides in the vine, neither can you unless you abide in me. I am the vine, you are the branches." This is the freedom we have been seeking. Look at the image. A branch does not try to produce a grape. A branch does not strain or worry or strive to create fruit. A branch has only one job: to stay connected to the vine and the life, the nourishment. The shalom of the vine flows through the branch, and the fruit is the inevitable, natural, quiet result. We have been trying to force fruit onto our lives through sheer willpower, and it feels so heavy. But Jesus says, peace is a fruit. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace. This is the ultimate secret. Your job is not to produce forgiveness. Your job is to abide in the one who is forgiveness. Your job is not to create peace. Your job is to abide in the Prince of Peace. How do we abide? We abide by saturating our minds in His Word. We abide by lingering in conversation with Him in prayer. We abide by staying our minds on Him. We abide by being still and listening. When you are connected to the vine, His life flows into you. His shalom becomes your peace, and His capacity to forgive becomes the fruit that grows in you. This is the secret to Joseph's story. This is how he did it. For 13 years, in the stillness, in the darkness, he was a branch cut off from everything except the vine. He was forced to abide. And so, decades later, when his brothers are standing before him, terrified, what fruit comes out? Not the fruit of bitterness, not the fire, not the wind. The supernatural fruit of Shalom flows out of him. He weeps and he says, "Do not be distressed, for God sent me before you to preserve life. It was not you who sent me here, but God." How? Because he was no longer seeing his life from the branch's perspective, the perspective of the pit. He was finally seeing from the vine's perspective. He was seeing the sovereign plan. That is the peace that settles the soul. That is the love finally set free. When they are afraid again, he speaks the ultimate words of an abiding soul. "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good." He wasn't trying to forgive. He was forgiveness. The fruit had grown. This is the journey to Shalom. This is the gentle path to forgiving the unforgivable. First, we must come to him. We must trade our heavy, crushing yoke for the light, easy yoke of walking with Jesus. Second, we must stay our minds on him. We anchor our thoughts on the truth of his character, not the chaos of our unrest. Third, we must be still. We must have the courage to turn down the volume of the world so we can hear the gentle whisper of the Spirit. And finally, we must abide. Peace is not a formula. It is a fruit. Forgiveness is not an effort. It is a result of staying connected moment by moment to the true vine who is Jesus Christ. Peace is not the absence of grievance. Peace is the presence of the King. Which of these 4 invitations is your soul whispering to you today? The call to come and trade your yoke. The call to stay your mind on him. The call to be still and listen, or the call to simply abide. Let us know in the comments below. Your story is a whisper of hope for someone else. And if this time of quiet has brought shalom to your heart, please subscribe and share this message. You never know who in your life is in the middle of their own private storm, scrolling in the dark before they go to sleep, and needs to be reminded of where true peace is found. May the Lord of peace himself give you peace at all times. and in every way